Okay, in this edition of the Cutting Room Floor video, these videos where we're giving you a little extra that can't make the cut in the Sunday morning sermons, also trying to give you just some things I think might be helpful in terms of your just overall reading of the book of Revelation, trying to interpret it, make sense of this apocalyptic literature and apply it to your own lives. Today we're diving a little bit more into this theme that we've been zeroing in on the past couple weeks, this idea of the prophetic witness of the church. Major theme throughout the book of Revelation. And so I want to take two videos here to just unpack that a little bit further. In this video, I want to just kind of zoom out actually and give you the big picture again, or give you one big picture of the book in which this prophetic witness of the church is situated. You know, sometimes as we've been working through the book of Revelation, and now we just finished up chapter 11, right? We're getting knee deep in some really symbolic, intricate pictures. And sometimes your head might start spinning after a while, like mine does. And it might just be helpful to take a step back, just see that big picture again, and that will help us hopefully make a clearer sense of what it means that the church is called to be a prophetic witness. So, to get at that, I want to highlight two scenes that happen at the end, close to the end of the book. Two times, John, the writer of the book, says he's tempted to bow down and worship the angel who is revealing all this incredible stuff to him. Chapter 19, verse 10, I fell down at his feet to worship him, but he said to me, this angel, you must not do that, for I'm just a fellow servant with you and your brothers who hold to the testimony of Jesus. Worship God, he says, period. Chapter 22, towards the end, again, John, I fell down to worship at the feet of the angel who showed these things to me. But he said to me, surprise, surprise, you must not do that. I am a fellow servant with you and your brothers, the prophets, and with those who keep the words of this book. Worship God, he says, period. Okay? And those two words, worship God, you could argue that in one sense, that's the main imperative of the book. If you think about the book, right? One of the things that you see all throughout the book are these glorious worship scenes, right? Worship that's happening in heaven around the throne and in relation to the Lamb, or worship that happens every time something dramatic in relation to the kingdom unfolds throughout the drama of the book, right? The book is just interspersed with all these incredible worship scenes. And in a sense, the call of the book is to join that choir, right? To get in and do the very thing that you were made to do and worship the one who created you, who gave you life, and who has redeemed you by the Lamb. The other thing you could say is that part of the main drama of the book is to gather the nations, gather people from every tongue, tribe, and nation into that great unfolding worship scene. All right, in other words, bring out the trusty notebook here. Got the worship. You got God in heaven, the one seated on the throne, the Lamb, and the sevenfold Spirit. I just drew that as a dove, typical picture there. And you could say the aim of the book, or part of the main drama of the book, is drawing the nations, people from every tongue, tribe, and nation, into these great worship scenes of the one seated on the throne and the Lamb. Okay, the conflict comes when the major, is it antagonist, not protagonist, but the antagonist enters the scene, whose goal is to lead the nations astray and lead them into idolatry, into false worship. Okay? Satan, here's the thing, all he is a mock, all he can do is counterfeit God, mock God, be some sort of knockoff imitation. And we talked about this in one of the earlier videos. One of the main ways that he does that in the book is that he himself has his own mock trinity in the book, just as our God, the true God, exists in triune form, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. So this counterfeit, knockoff, wannabe God, Satan, has his own mock trinity. And even in these mock trinities, right, there's similarities. You've got this beast who comes out of the sea, and the dragon, Satan, the dragon, after he's cast out of heaven, he gives authority to the beast on his behalf, just as God the Father gives authority to the Son to execute his purposes. This beast, surprise, surprise, has a mortal wound that is healed, just kind of like the Lamb also has a mortal wound that is healed. And this beast is given a mouth to utter blasphemies and lies about the true Creator God. Third part of the Trinity is a second beast that comes, who is later titled the false prophet. And this false prophet, in the same way the Holy Spirit does, he speaks on behalf of the first beast, and he's able to perform signs and wonders to make people believe his words. He's the one who's also able to put a stamp or a seal on those who would follow, just like God himself stamps and seals his people. I put a little Dallas Cowboys sign right there because I don't really know, but I think there might be a connection. I'm not sure. Everybody's always trying to make connections about who the Antichrist, the false prophet is. So there's my guess as best. I don't know. All right. So, but then, and they're quite successful, by the way, in leading the people into idolatry. They're actually given authority to lead the nations astray for 42 months. Okay. Which should be a familiar number if you were paying attention in the sermon yesterday. So enter the lampstands, who for 42 months are called to prophesy and to give testimony to the true and living God. And it's these, the church, and their prophetic witness, their testimony, that God is going to use to ultimately draw the nations into that great worship scene. Dragon wages war against the church when he's kicked out of heaven. He first tries to conquer Christ. In chapter 12 we'll see that, but he fails miserably. He's cast out of heaven. There's a great song of celebration, but then we find out, well, so what does he do when he's cast out? He wages war now against the church. And an interesting line is that we find out that the church overcomes by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. Okay, another major theme through the book. The church overcomes, conquers through the blood of the Lamb, first and foremost, but then also through the word of their testimony. And what is the word of that testimony? That's what we'll look at a little bit more next time. So, big picture drama of the book, great worship scenes, God the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, nations called into that. We've got the antagonists getting in the way, leading them into false worship. Enter the church, the lampstands, who counter the lies and the counterfeits of the false mock Trinity with their testimony to the truth. And it's that testimony that God uses to help them overcome and to lead the nations into that glorious worship. Okay? So next time, we'll look at what is that word of prophetic witness. All right? See you then.